Hi, my name is Stephen Gregory. I am 48 years old on Saturday, and I'm the music pastor here at West Shore E-Free Church. I discovered my disease complicated with what was called hypercalciuria as a boy, multiple kidney stones. And so one night I couldn't sleep, and my mother took me to the emergency room, and they found these multiple kidney stones, and they discovered I also had this kidney disease, extra cystic fiber in my kidneys, and a loss of protein. And so they began to watch it. It was slow progressing, and I stayed. It was interesting. I went to Indiana University into their pediatric care, Dr. Jerry Bergstein. And I was there for many years. Up into my adult life, I still got suckers at 30 years old as I'd go to pediatrics. But when I moved to Galveston area of Texas, I went into end-stage renal failure, and they began to give me some options on how I would treat the kidney. And ultimately, I went to Seattle, Washington, and then on to San Jose, California, where my kidneys failed, and I went on to peritoneal dialysis. Peritoneal dialysis is a process of filling the cavity with a sugar solution. To make it simple, just a sugar solution. There's a catheter that runs into your body cavity, and you're filled up with the sugar, and through a process similar to osmosis, it pulls the toxins out of your blood into this solution that you empty out, similar to what urine would do. The problem is that there are special diets, there's a certain medication you take, because while it's trying to maintain what the kidney does and keep the toxins out, there's processes it doesn't do for the body. Sometimes they call dialysis, whether hemo or peritoneal, a slow death sentence in the process. I was transplanted in November 2nd of 2005. I had just turned 40 in August, and I recall it was late October when I got the news. I was looking out my window on the second story of my office. The trees had just changed, and I was very sick, and I was actually thinking, I'm not sure where we're going with this. I was my creatinine had reached 11, and they told me that it was somewhere around 13 or 15 that was fatal. And I was on a list, but because of Kaiser, the insurance hospital group I was with, they had just started their own dialysis center, which meant I had to sign back up on the list and start over. And so we didn't know if I would have enough time. I was a healthy candidate. We didn't know if I'd have enough time. And just having a surgery on this peritoneal catheter I had that had gotten infected and needed removed. I was on hemodialysis. I was really sick. I remember looking out my office thinking, as the trees were changing colors, is this towards the end for me? And I felt like I had enough money for my family. I was worried about my wife. I was praying for my kids. And out of the blue, in that late month of October, I got this note from a friend. I'm a match. The note said, I'm a match. Now, there's an interesting story about this gentleman. He's a PhD in some biological science, and we didn't know each other until I came to California. I began to ask myself, who would give me a kidney? That's an incredible gift for someone to give. I began to ask that, and folks were kind. They would offer, and there were tests they had to do, and I felt overwhelmed to think that someone would give me such an incredible gift. And I began to ask God, why would they do this, or who would do this? And when this man came forward, who was practically a perfect match for me, he passed all the psychological exams, all the physiological exams. He was really just a perfect match and a close friend. What we found out about our journey was, we had both lived in Houston for a number of years, and we didn't know each other. And then within a couple of years, he'd gone to Seattle to finish a degree. I'd taken a church in Seattle. Within like 18 months, we had both moved to Seattle area, and we didn't know each other. I was attending one church, he was at another church, and then a few years later, we had both moved to San Jose, California, and we didn't know each other. until I'd gone to work part-time at a Presbyterian church doing their evening services, and we met each other there. It encouraged me both on two counts. One, that the scripture that says, "No greater love hath any man that he would lay down a life for a friend." Well, this is about the closest you can get, because this man loved me enough to give me a life-giving gift. The second part was, somehow God knew all along, and this guy, it was almost like he was just destined to meet me and be this guy. So our diets were the same and our experiences were the same, and right when the time came that I needed, he was there. But he wouldn't have been there had I not had the courage and the conviction to offer an incredible gift like that.
And so
I've been transplanted now for 8 years. I call it my prime. The kidney has improved, and things like processing calcium and all those things that are important that happen, particularly regarding the kidney, has helped me being healthier, more energy. I can enjoy my life, not having to do the consistent mundane dialysis, the constant hooking up, the constant carrying all the solution inside of me, or spending hours on the table in hemodialysis. So my life is much improved. I mean, it's like having my life back. It's like being brought back from the dead in many ways. And my donor's life is actually better too. And it was interesting, he actually told me recently that he went to the gym, his health is better. And he said it's not uncommon that, there's some study that says when people give away their kidneys, particularly in kidney transplants, they're healthier. And I asked why that was. He said, I think it's because they're more cognizant of their health and they do more things, but it is a trend that kidney donors are in better health than folks who don't donate. What I would tell a donor that was considering donation is, one, it's something to consider seriously. It's a sober decision. But in kidney, unlike any other organ, you've got an extra. I mean, it's not required for your life. And so in my friend's case that gave me the kidney, we're connected in a very unique way. He actually saved my life. It's the kind of gift that, it's the second best thing to giving your life for a friend. To give them a life-giving gift that allows them to see grandchildren, graduations, all those things that you would not see otherwise. It's the very essence of giving life, and it's the very essence of love.